Hey folks, Why Would You Ask That is a podcast that answers some of the weirdest questions. A lot of those are inappropriate for some listeners. If you're squeamish, easily disturbed, or just having a bad day, this may not be for you. But if you've got to know the answers like we do, stay tuned.
Why Would You Ask That? Presented by me, they, them, and...
Karen, she, her, and...
Remy, he, they, pronoun change.
We're all fresh, funky, and new here. Not really. This is our episode that is certainly in the double digits by now. I don't even know what number this is, but we are definitely in the double digits.
Yes!
So...
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, wait till we get to the triple digits and, I don't know. We record every week. It's going to take 2 years. But, anyway, y'all know about haunted paintings. I love haunted paintings, especially haunted paintings that kill people.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want one, but, what paintings are the most notorious for haunted? What's the most popular of haunted paintings that are currently circulating in modern day?
I have no idea.
Well, there's a few.
I know nothing about haunted paintings. I say that now, but then 2 weeks from now, I'll be like, oh my god, I can't believe I forgot.
So, yeah, you're gonna be like, oh shit, whoa, oh man, the name of his ass, that's a haunted painting. Oh god, I should have told them, I should have brought it up.
Yep.
The name of his ass is a really, really good title for a painting, and if anyone wants to take that and use it and let me know, I would love to see that. Anyway, Remy, what do you got for us?
So today we're talking about haunted paintings, and I'm going to talk about The Crying Boy. Oh man, I just got distracted. Sorry, I went and I looked up haunted paintings and I immediately distracted myself.
We've all been there.
I wanted to see what other paintings were out there and what they were called. Yep. So, one of them's just called The Scariest Picture on the Internet. Which is what? Try harder.
So paintings, I don't know. Pictures, there's the creepypastas, but paintings, I only come up with the fictional ones.
Go on.
Oh, the picture of Dorian Gray is the big one that I think of that is a haunted painting. It's not even really haunted. It's just haunted by his, it holds all of his guilt, or all of the, maybe not guilt.
It's the physical manifestation of all his sins.
Yeah.
And as a hedonist, it looks really gross at the end.
Real nasty.
He did a lot of sins.
You think it was the painter who decided what sins were going to go into the painting?
I think it was,
I don't know anything about the portrait of Dorian Gray except for the story.
No, I don't think he intended it. I think it just kind of happened. Because isn't the painter the guy who's in love with him?
Fuck if I know, bro.
I'm pretty sure.
I need to actually try to read it at some point. I remember when I tried to read it in high school, but if you handed me a book in high school and told me to read it for a grade, I would have said fuck you, rolled over, and picked up a different book.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who painted the picture in the book is named Basil Hallward.
Yeah, and he's introduced to Dorian through Dorian's mentor, right? He's the devil on Dorian's shoulder, basically. He's the guy who kind of leads Dorian into this hedonistic lifestyle. And they're both trying to get Basil into it, and he's like, oh, no. He's into Dorian not really for his personality. He's more into Dorian because of his aesthetic.
Basil used Dorian as a muse.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't that's why the portrait was locked away, because it was something that neither of them wanted to acknowledge about Dorian, in that he's a fucking dick.
Uh, okay. Yeah, because if sins would be quantified as probably like what Christianity considered sins, because Oscar Wilde lived in a Christian society, so probably that would have been what was considered sinful. So who decided what sins went into the painting would have been the larger Christian society everybody was living in at the time. Just to answer the posed question.
Which, when I was reading it in high school, I was like, oh, it's just kind of because he's kind of a jerk. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's about him being a sinner and a hedonist, which is gross, but also he's not very nice.
He's kind of a dickwad.
Yeah.
That's a good fictional example.
That's all I got.
So if you look on Wikipedia, there's a couple of real-life, supposedly, examples of haunted paintings. 12, I didn't count.
There's a whole fucking lot.
Yeah, there's 14 listed on this list on Wikipedia, and I know there's more than that, but there's 14 on Wikipedia's list, the ones they've decided count.
Wow.
I'm going to talk about just the one of them. I'm talking about the Crying Boy, which is the one that has circulated forever. Not forever, since the 50s.
Oh, the 50s. That's not long ago. There haven't been haunted paintings before then?
Oh, there most certainly have, but there's these are the contemporary haunted paintings, bro.
Oh, okay. Because if we were here talking about all of the famous Victorian paintings that are definitely gonna kill you.
All of them are haunted. We don't have enough time to talk about all of them, bro.
Yeah.
The oldest haunted painting that has a date attached to it is called Man Proposes, God Disposes.
Ooh.
I'll show it to you. It's from 1864. I'm going to show it to you. It's got polar bears.
I love those guys.
I'm a huge polar bear fan. If I were one day to be killed, I would love for it to be by polar bear.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm not even really sure what's going on. I think there's a gun in the picture, though. And these guys are, jacked.
This is the oldest haunted painting. It's the oldest haunted painting because, according to an urban myth, a local student once committed suicide during exams at this place where the painting came from by stabbing a pencil into his eye after writing "The polar bears made me do it" on their exam paper. It happened in the picture gallery at that Royal Holloway, University of London.
That didn't. That's not real. That can't be real.
It says a slightly less morbid legend among students dating back to at least the 1960s is that anyone sitting in front of the painting during an exam will fail it. This has led to teachers covering the painting with a Union Jack when students' examinations are going on.
I think that my school probably had traditions like that, but I can't for the life of me think of them. I wasn't paying attention.
So there's a ton of supposedly haunted paintings, probably. Wikipedia only lists a dozen or so. I'm talking about the Crying Boy. It has persisted for several decades in the contemporary time. The Crying Boy is a mass-produced print of a painting by an Italian painter named Giovanni Bragolin, and it was widely distributed from the 1950s onward. There are several versions of the painting, but they all contain similar imagery of a young boy or girl crying.
Okay.
Why? Why are these paintings something worth talking about on a podcast about weird stuff? You might be asking. The paintings have been associated with, a lot of house fires over the years, where they have turned up totally unharmed, surrounded by the ashes of the house they'd been in.
What the fuck? No.
Yeah.
What?
It occurs to me I didn't even give you a picture of the Crying Boy painting to look at.
I don't want my house to burn down.
Picture on the computer is not gonna burn anything. I've been looking at this every other day for the past week or so, because I sit there which Crying Boy are we gonna talk about? Because there's several Crying Boys.
Our house is gonna burn down, and the only things that will survive are yours and my browser history.
There's one of them.
Oh my god. Why would you buy that? Sorry.
I don't know why you would buy
He's
that.
so sad. It reminds me of the little match girl. Like, Jesus.
This is the kind of painting you hang up in the dentist's office.
What dentist did you go to?
I went to one that sucked. So.
Oh, that one's worse. That one's worse. No wonder people's houses burned down. Okay, I'm gonna delete these. I'm sorry.
Yeah, do it. It's okay.
I would rather have the polar bears.
The fear in her heart.
So yes, these paintings, it's literally just a beautiful painting, but it's just of children looking forlornly right at you out of the picture, straight on, with tears, like big fat tears rolling down their faces. They look super sad. And the legend states that they are hanging up in the house somewhere. Usually maybe the wall is still there, but like very burned, and the painting is unharmed or maybe a little singed, or the painting has fallen down and it's just like surrounded by ashes or covered over by ashes and timber and stuff, but is still unharmed or lightly singed. So there's been quite a lot of fires associated with that painting, in particular, that series of paintings, not one particular one of the Crying Boy paintings, but the series of Crying Boy paintings in particular. That's why we're talking about it. Portraits and human likenesses, painted or carved, have been a particular focus of the cursed object folklore for a long time, for a really long time. Folklore and superstitions shift and change over time, but people just have always been superstitious when it comes to things that look like humans, but that aren't humans.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you get haunted dolls and fear of clowns and stuff like that.
We talked about this, the fear of like mannequins and the those robots that people are trying to make look like people.
People are afraid and superstitious of things that look like humans, or that are like are painted to look like humans, but that don't quite look like humans.
Mm-hmm. That's why all my paintings are really scary. I haven't painted in my life.
I like your paintings.
I've never painted a person.
I have a picture that you did, and it's on my desktop, and it looks at me every day.
Did I paint it?
No.
See?
But technically it did. It looks like it was a digital art.
Oh my god, it's not that one that my mom gave you, is it?
It is.
Oh my god! Oh, no wonder you don't respect me anymore.
I ever respected you in the first place.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh my god. Sorry.
For example, in folk belief, the notion that a picture falling from a wall is an omen of impending death, particularly if it's like your own picture that has fallen off the wall, it's just like it's still a widespread modern superstition. Similarly, you've got the pictures that have the eyes that follow you around the room. It's been in the horror genre since the horror genre's earliest conception, back before they called it horror.
Okay.
So there really isn't a lot known about the painter who painted the Crying Boy picture. He's shrouded in a bunch of rumor and mystery also. We know that his real name is Bruno Amadio, and that the name attached to the painting is a pseudonym, and that he went by a couple of different pseudonyms. We know that he worked after World War I in Venice, and that he made something like 65 or so of the different crying children paintings, boys and girls. And that's the extent of the factual information we basically know about this guy.
Wow.
The rumor about the creation of the Crying Boy paintings is that Giovanni fled to Spain after the war and painted children from a local orphanage, which subsequently burned down. That's one of them.
Cool.
Yes, that was an initial early origin story for these paintings before the internet got a hold of it.
Oh boy.
After the internet, creepypasta kind of got into the Crying Boy legend and started associating more things with it. So now, according to the creepypasta that has been made around the Crying Boy painting, the subject of the painting is supposedly a street kid that the painter found in Madrid, and he never spoke and always looked really sorrowful. A local priest apparently identified the boy as somebody named Don Bonillo, and he said that he was homeless because he accidentally started a fire which caused his parents to die.
Don, no.
Don, yes! Sorry.
And the priest said, "Don't mess with him. Fires follow wherever this kid goes." And the painter was like, "Shut up." And he took the kid and he like adopted him and used him as like his constant muse for all of these paintings that he did of all the different children. These children all look different from each other, but whatever.
Yeah.
The priest told him that wherever the kid went, the fires happened. So of course his studio burned down, and then the kid fled into the night, only to surface again on his 18th birthday when his car exploded, and he died in a fire, of course.
Oh my... Wait, for real?
Yeah, they say that the kid himself also died in a fire on his 18th birthday when his car exploded.
They say I once died in a fire after Karen burned me.
Bro, if that happened, you'd already be gone.
I mean, you do roast me every day.
Every day. Not a day goes by that you aren't roasted on the Spitfire. Or I don't know. Someone help me. I don't know. I'm floundering.
I promise. Usually she has something good.
Yeah, that's all right.
Anyway, we're all dead inside.
So those are the urban legends associated with the painting. And now I can tell you the real story of what happened. The Crying Boy painting came to people's attention in the 80s, like 1985 or so, something like that, when a British newspaper called The Sun, which is a tabloid, ran a story called Blazing Curse of the Crying Boy. And according to the story, some people named Ron and Mary Hall lost their homes to a fire.
Okay.
And then it was because a frying pan burst into flames and caught the home on fire, which is actually what happened.
Yeah, you gotta every lie needs a little grain of truth. Otherwise, it's a bad lie.
Been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means.
That means you've lied before.
I've never lied a day in my goddamn life.
Mm-hmm. You lie to yourself every day. I'm so sorry.
I fucking told you.
Go on.
Okay. So while they were sifting through the rubble of their house, they found the Crying Boy painting that the two of them had owned undamaged from the fire. Ron Hall's brother Peter was one of the firemen who was there, and he said that this was not the first time that they had been at a fire where they had found one of these paintings undamaged.
Oh my god.
And then the news story ran. So I think it's weird to hang a big painting of a crying child on your wall, but apparently the series of paintings of the crying children was really popular in the 60s and 70s and like the late 50s. There was even another artist named Anna, I don't know how to say her last name correctly, but Zinkisen, I think, who did her own series of crying children paintings at the same time that Amadio was doing his paintings of crying children. So between the 50s and 70s, when the prints of the Crying Boy paintings were circulated, an enormous amount of them were sold. They sold them in, like, supermarkets. And at market stalls off the side of the road.
Oh, no.
Wow, bro.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, they were, like, kitschy, cheap paintings that people made, like, reprints of, and then they hung them on their wall. It was like the kinds of paintings you would buy at Target, basically.
Oh my god, I hate that. Of crying children. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know why that's popular, but whatever. You do whatever you want, 50s and 60s people. So, go on?
No, I got nothing.
Okay. After the Sun ran its article, there was like a sort of public hysteria took over, and we talked about public hysteria back when we talked about like internet trends with real life things like the blue whale challenge, sometimes something happens once and then the internet or the media, in this case the newspaper, turns it into something huge, and that sparks a series of events from the rumor itself that brings the story to life. So thus the Sun posted the first story calling the crying boy paintings cursed. The public started phoning in to say that their relatives were killed by the painting, or they knew someone who died in a fire with the painting, or they tried to burn their painting and it wouldn't burn, and then a bunch more house fires started.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure can.
Yeah. So, like, more houses and restaurants that contain the crying boy painting burned down. Firefighters asserted that the fires were not supernatural events and that were just a result of carelessness. For example, several of the fires were started by like improperly disposed of cigarettes. One of them was caused by a space heater that got too close to somebody's bed and caught the bed on fire. More than one of them was apparently caused by people's like pans on their stoves catching on fire. I don't understand how that could happen more than once. I've had it happen to me once though, so I guess I'm not one to talk, but how it can happen to a lot of people, I don't know.
I mean, the chances seem pretty high for people who are just like buying it from old time Target, like these very popular paintings of crying children. Like, who's not to say that they too don't often forget stove and they're in the middle of cooking. Maybe they're too busy like bullying children.
It's a very real possibility.
My pan caught fire because I'm a bad cook. And I had the heat turned up too high.
Yes, I recall that you are not allowed to cook.
I cooked this past week while my husband was sick, and I did fine.
But good.
I was a lot worse of a cook then than I am now.
It's okay.
I've picked up some things since then. So
one of us has.
Hey, I'm not a bad cook.
I didn't call you a bad cook.
Okay.
Even though the firefighters asserted that the fires weren't supernatural and that all of these were careless and that the paintings didn't have anything to do with it, they also admitted that previous to the public knowing that the paintings even had anything to do with fires, that they had logged 50 fires where the crying boy painting had been at the crime scene and had not been burned.
Oh, that's real suspicious, y'all.
Yeah. So the Sun was interviewing this one firefighter, and he's the one who said, so these are not supernatural in nature, but then made the comment to the Sun's reporter, although I have logged 50 fires myself since 1973 where the painting was found, not burned, also there, like, and the Sun just ran that comment and deleted the first half of the comment.
Of
course. They were like, oh, it's a story. And he's like, it's really not, but go off, I guess.
Yeah. So the fire services people, like, they kept asserting that this was not supernatural, but then, like, as a joke, I guess, this same dude, his other firemen tried to give him a crying boy painting, and he wouldn't hang it up.
God, because he's smart.
He was like, this is bad luck. And then a different fireman, I think, hung it up in the firehouse. And then before he was told to take it down by his superiors, ironically, the stove at the firehouse caught fire.
Oh my God.
Ow, my throat.
This is too much. This is too much. This is... No. That's insane.
Yeah. So eventually the public was so worked up about it that the South Yorkshire Fire Service had to put out a statement saying that there was no connection between the paintings and the fires, and saying that it was all carelessness. And the chief divisional officer himself, named Riley, said, quote, fires are not started by pictures. And also said, quote, the reason why this picture has not always been destroyed in the fire is because it is printed on high-density hardboard, which is very difficult to ignite, end quote. which should have been the end of it because he was providing a very logical reason why these things weren't burning properly.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't.
But it didn't. Sorry.
So people kept like flooding the Sun with letters saying like, I tried to burn my painting and it wouldn't burn and stuff like that. So eventually the editor of the Sun, who had started this whole mess, came back and told the readers to send the Crying Boy paintings that they had to the Sun's offices, and that the newspaper would destroy the paintings for them once and for all.
Wow.
So sad.
Yes. They had originally planned to burn the paintings on the roof of the building. This is how fires start.
Yeah. This,
But their local fire department said, absolutely not.
They're like, oh my god.
This how it happened, asshole.
Yeah. So instead, they took all the copies that were sent to them of the painting to the River Thames to do their fire. Do you have a guess as to how many copies of the painting they were sent?
237.
I was gonna say 500.
2,500.
Oh my god, and they're still in the River Thames to this day.
They are not, because
They just drowned.
they didn't drown them.
Oh no! Did they burn them?
They, on Halloween,
Oh no!
they took all 2,500 copies of the painting that had flooded into their office, and they started a bonfire on the banks of the River Thames, and then they just threw the copies in there. And then they wrote a story saying that it was over once and for all.
It's done. It's done.
So I've got some newspaper articles from the Sun to show, just to show you.
God, yes.
Crying boy curse strikes again! Prince undamages family's home birds! Send them to us!
Right there in the left corner, you can see the original newspaper article too.
Blazing curse of the Crying Boy picture.
This amuses me so.
Wow.
And then here's the article from when they burned all the paintings.
Crying flame! Sun nails curse of the weeping boy for good! Curse them all! Oh, that really gets the fucking throat.
Mm-hmm.
I already have a throat issue.
Yep. So eventually this caused the panic to die down somewhat, but the urban legend attached to the painting just sort of lived on and was added onto. So this point right here was where the story about the boy who was a street kid in Madrid that was adopted by the painter got added on right here. Before the creepypasta and the internet happened, this is where that came in.
Aww, someone wrote a short story about it. Cute.
Yep.
Aww.
Then when the internet happened, people started circulating the Crying Boy as an online urban legend, where they added in details like the kid's name and like that he died in a fire himself. And that maybe the painter abused him, and that's why he burns everybody that owns a picture of his painting, whatever. And they just keep adding on to it. People have posted lots of YouTube videos. They won't let it die, so people just keep talking about it. We're talking about it right now. So
exactly.
It's because the story surrounding the painting itself, I find a lot more interesting than the actual urban legend. Which is why I spent almost no time at all talking about the actual urban legend portion of it.
It's just not as fun as what really happened.
Yeah, it's not. The actual story that somebody took the time to write, no offense to the person who did it, but is not as interesting as the ridiculous stuff that happened actually in real life. And I even have a video from the BBC in 2010 where somebody went and bought one of these paintings and tried to burn it themselves.
No.
I think it's kind of sad, though. Imagine, like, being an artist and, like, painting these things. Even if you're, like, weird and you're painting, like, crying children. I mean, everybody paints some weird shit.
Yeah.
and crying, I guess. I don't know. It's like the crying clown thing.
Oh, yeah!
But imagine being the artist and, like, everybody's obsessively trying to burn your fucking paintings!
It's so sad.
Yeah. Like, imagine, you're in the afterlife, you're like, I lovingly painted all these crying children, and I specifically put a varnish over it. Flame retardant, so in case the worst were to happen, the painting would still be okay. And now people are just chucking it in the fire! Like, oh shit, dude! Oh no! Oh god, it's cursed! People keep setting their fucking houses on fire.
Yeah. It's the thing to do, I guess.
You know what else everybody has that also, like, happens to be around in fires? Houses.
Weird.
I know! Fucking rad and strange.
What's really funny is that in the comment section of that YouTube video, there's a bunch of people that are like, well, if these things don't burn, just make the houses out of them.
Right?
They were like, curse loophole.
Curse loophole.
So, actually, yeah, the artist would have to look on from the afterlife because he died in 1981 before the curse story ever started.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's good. That would be pretty sad.
It's preferable to watching everybody be like, oh my god, your work is so cursed, bro! And everybody, and he just like, it's not. I'm crying because I'm crying.
Yeah. I wasn't intending it to be cursed.
So the story that I read that was probably the only real story, or the closest thing to a real story probable, is so he lived through World War I, and he was a child during World War I, and then he trained as an artist, like an academically trained artist, and somebody who knew him said that they think that he painted them to remind people of the orphans of World War I.
Oh.
See, there you go.
Now, I don't know if that's the truth or not, but it seems like it's probably closer to the truth than all of the nonsense about stealing a kid off the street and holding him captive in his art studio until arson happened, or whatever else.
I have to say that, I have to agree. I have to agree with that.
As an artist, let me tell you, it is extremely expensive to kidnap people. No fucking artist could afford that shit.
Yeah. Starving artist can't fucking pay to kidnap someone unless they're like what are they, the ones that can make paintings the ones that can make paintings that have already been painted, the copy people, they
plagiarizing sons of bitches?
Yeah, basically. They like create, forgeries. Yeah. Those artists, they can make a lot of money.
They do make sometimes more than the original artist, and that sucks. A professor of media law and contemporary legend, which is just a cool job, Dr. David Clark, talks about how the internet has added to the story to provide the piece of the story that was missing originally, that being why the painting causes fires, supposedly, and some places just say that the spirit of the boy is trapped inside of the painting and starts the fire in the hopes that the painting will be destroyed and let him go free, which doesn't make a lot of sense because the paintings in the fires are all different paintings of boys and girls. They all look different. Sometimes it's even crying children that were painted by the other person who was painting crying children and not even by Amadio in the first place. So, yeah. And then just to cap off my section, an article ran in a magazine called The Skeptical Inquirer, and then somebody came forward who lived next door to the original artist. And he said, his name was Antonio, and he said, just so that we know, that Bruno Amadio, the original artist, was, quote, a marvelous person, always smiling and kind, and that about the Crying Boy painting, he said, quote, I'm sorry that he's remembered just for the crying boys. That's something he painted just because it sold well, end quote, because he painted other things. And I can chime in and say that they were really cheap and kitschy back then, but nowadays they sell for $3,500 or so dollars.
Damn. What's the artist's name?
Bruno Amadio.
I just want to see some of his other work.
Sure
Oh,
looks like an old guy.
yeah,
I was an old guy once.
yeah.
Then I stopped because I had to reincarnate.
And Antonio says, quote, since they kept asking him for those paintings from all over the world, he obliged and painted them, but he did so reluctantly, and that's why he used a pseudonym, end quote. And according to Antonio, the pseudonym that Amadio used belonged to his uncle, who was a vaudeville performer, which I just thought was a neat little addition.
That's so cool. Yeah.
So this is just a really interesting way that creepypastas influence the way that we just hold on to these urban legends that have just been around since before the internet ever existed, which is really cool. And we still have creepypasta urban legends about paintings that solely exist, like, on the internet. Take it away, Em. You talk.
Well, the paintings that I was looking at don't really exist solely on the internet.
Oh, I thought they did. Look at me.
Well, so I looked at two in particular, and the first one I want to talk about is the Anguished Man, which is, it got its start actually because of YouTube, but it is a real painting. I'm going to show it to you guys real quick, and tell me, because it makes me laugh when I see it. It makes a lot of people really uncomfortable to look at. And there's reports of like nausea, sickness, headaches, people just like report awful things, awful feelings when they look at it. It looks like to me though, a hot dog that got shoulders.
Yeah, I was thinking he looked like a corn dog. Or like how little kids poke the holes out of lunch meat.
Yeah, exactly. Like it looks like a hot dog man. I mean, it does look like somebody who's had all of their features burned and melted off. Yes, and it's screaming in anguish, hence the title, The Anguished Man. What do you guys think? It's not like the worst painting.
No, I figured it was the little Ghibli guys.
Ghibli guys?
Yeah.
What are they called? My brain's going Korok. I gotta Google it now.
Yeah, what are they called? They're in Princess Mononoke. Oh, the Kodama.
Kodama! Yes,
those guys.
The forest spirits.
Yeah, yeah.
They do have the same facial expression.
They scare me, actually. I don't like their faces.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, I'm surprised this makes you laugh, because...
I find it unsettling, but it makes me laugh.
Oh, okay.
So the thing about this painting is it got its start on YouTube. Gosh, let me double check my notes here. It got its start on YouTube in 2010.
2010.
Yeah, 2010. It's owned by a man called Sean Robinson. He lives in Cumbria, England.
Okay.
So he supposedly inherited this painting from his grandmother. That the artist who painted this mixed his own blood into the paint, painted this shit up, and then killed himself right after finishing it.
Even he hated it?
I guess he hated it that much.
I mean, it sounds like an artist.
Suicide's not a joke, but yes.
Sorry.
I made a joke, I'm sorry. No, I made a joke too.
I mean...
Y'all back to back!
I made a joke and then I was like, that made me sound like an asshole.
I mean, alright, look. More often than not, it's the creative types. But that's not to say that creative types are the sole people that deal with depression. So.
Depression's no joke. Suicide's no joke.
Mm-mm.
Don't kill yourself.
We love you.
I don't know you, but I'm sure I would appreciate you in some cases. I don't get along with everybody, though. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
See some counseling, call a doctor, or get out of your situation if you can. If you can't, kill everybody. Don't do that!
Isn't the new number 899?
I don't know. I haven't had to call them in quite a while.
988. 988. So, yes. Okay. So he killed himself after he painted this painting, according to legend.
Yes. And the guy who had it kind of just put it in one of the bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they started experiencing, like, he got the painting, put it in the basement for a while. Basement got flooded. He took the painting out, stored it in a bedroom, and then everybody started, like, getting weird apparitions.
I was going to say lesions. Mm-hmm. I just figured that's what would happen.
Oh, like a health thing?
Like, he's burned, so the people around him get burned. I don't know.
So sorry to whoever wrote the creepypasta. I did not enjoy it.
It's not your fault. It was 2010.
Well, basically, a guy started showing up, and it freaked everybody out, and people started hearing whispering and crying. Kept happening. And then, like, the guy who owned it would wake up, would see this faceless figure just standing in the room. And he said, the guy that owns it said that his wife found the figure laying in bed next to her at some point.
Oh,
yeah. Supposedly, they've also had an incident where the son was pushed down the stairs by an invisible presence.
No.
Yeah. And so the guy had the painting on film for hours at a time, then speed it up. Bro, I did not have the patience to watch that shit. I'm sorry. I did not have the patience. I didn't even have the patience to watch TV shows it was on. Because guess what? It was on TV shows.
Of course. Naturally.
So, in 2012, Discovery Channel had a show called Weird or What. Did a little bit about the Anguished Man, and they're like, I don't really believe that this shit happened. So they had a guy, a paranormal investigator, his name was Mike St. Clair, and he was just like, I don't think these are real. Do this shit by shut with or like you could have somebody run past the camera real quick and like that, and people like get to investigate it, the painting. You have like their whole TV show, and they're like, oh, I feel weird around this painting, or it makes me unsettled, it makes me nauseous. Yeah. So these days the painting was taken down. The guy keeps it in the basement again to, air quotes, avoid any more harm to his family.
Less.
Apparently there were attempts for people to sell. People got excited because they thought, oh, we get to own the painting. It's all fake, because he says because of the painting's dangerous nature, he will never sell it. Now, do you guys believe that movie rights have been sold for this?
Yeah, I'd believe that. That makes sense.
They call it actually Life Story rights. La Brea Pictures bought the rights to it, and that was back in 2016.
Wow.
I don't think a movie's going to be coming out.
Oh, okay.
The last one I looked at, they had a picture of the painting, and they put Easter eggs in it, and it was like, find all the hidden Easter eggs in the Anguished Man.
I feel like that's a little inappropriate.
They put a big ass Easter egg in this guy's mouth.
Of course.
What?
Hold on, I gotta grab that picture for y'all, cause it's seriously fucking hilarious. It's the same painting with just the eggs basically set to opacity 5 and like pasted over it. So they got one in the eye, they got one in the mouth, you know. Like
they're just everywhere.
All over the place. Like it's tagged with like Easter devil eggs. Like
Wow.
That's too much, y'all.
People, still talk about it and everything, and it's a media thing now. People love to investigate the Anguished Man and interview the guy, talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's, I mean, interesting to think about, but I don't believe in that.
It's just one of those things. It's featured in a lot of YouTube videos. There's a show in Korea that talked about it. Honestly, it's very. The thing about it is, it's a very popular painting, but nobody knows who painted it. Like, nobody knows where it came from. Nobody knows any background information about it, and like, he won't even let people touch the painting or anything like that. Like, because he said, like he says, it's dangerous. He won't let people like do anything with it.
So he painted it, right?
Maybe it's just like a weird painting.
Yeah.
So there is, in fact, a creepypasta about it. I did have the patience to read the creepypasta.
Okay.
It's literally like a guy is sitting in his house after work and is like drinking, watching TV, and then he's like, oh my god, I got a fucking weird painting in the basement. He trips down the stairs, grabs the portrait, hangs it up over his bed, and then goes to bed afterwards. And then he's like trying to sleep, there's a noise in the kitchen, and he wakes up and he's like, oh my gosh, what is that? Oh, it's just a knife on the floor. What is that?
That's so weird.
It's so weird. Why would a fucking, like, knife be on the floor? I don't know. And then he went back to bed, and he wakes up, and then, like, he's like, I feel warm liquid dripping down my face. He just wipes it off and goes back to sleep. Then he wakes up in the morning. He wakes up in the morning. There's blood everywhere.
Oh, like an It.
It's like a period from his face. It literally says, the next morning, Michael woke up to find his pillow smothered in the amount of blood needed to drown someone.
Oh my god. How would you know?
Yeah, how would you know?
That's a lot of blood.
I mean, hypothetically...
You can drown in 3 inches of water. So.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're waterboarding someone, you don't need, like, a lot of water.
Yeah, I imagine it's the same for blood.
Yeah.
But he went to the bathroom, and he looks in the mirror, and his ear was slit down the middle.
Van Gogh!
Like, I don't know what, I can't picture what this means. It literally says, he found that when he looked in the mirror, his ear was slit down the middle. Something, with surgical precision, had slit down the middle part of his ear.
The middle part of his...
I don't understand if it was like a cut or like part of his ear was cut off or like what is going on there.
Yeah,
like,
what direction is the middle? Like, I'm guessing vertically.
I imagine vertically as well, but like how far did he go? Like how did he bleed that much? And how come it isn't hurting? There's no pain.
How would you surgically... I mean, I guess surgically you could, but I feel like there would be a lot of... It would look really sloppy after you do it.
But the thing is it says after that is, again, thinking nothing about it, he put a small plaster on it and decided to go to work.
Thinking nothing about it? Thinking nothing about
it? Dude's ear got sliced in the middle of the night. He bled all over his pillow, and he put a little Band-Aid on it and went to work.
He's like, oh, okay.
Okay. I found a knife in the bed. Not in the bed. I found a knife on the kitchen floor last night. Whatever. And then I woke up. My ear was sliced open. Just better slap a Band-Aid on it. Let's go. So the dude gets home, and the Anguished Man is lying on the floor with a more sinister expression on the portrait's face. But weirdest of all, he found writing on the walls that read, "Everyone has betrayed me." Upon reading this, the door slammed shut, locking in place. Michael ran into his bedroom, locking the door, not even looking at the horrors that lurked inside. After locking his door, he noticed some more etching in blood which read, "Turn around."
He was like, oh. Well, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Slowly, he turned around to find the Anguished Man drenched in a vast pool of blood, looking at him, staring at him. The portrait now depicts two figures screaming with hollow eyes and hollow mouths. If you look close enough, you'll see two little tears on one's face.
Two little ears
Two
on.
little tears.
Oh, tears.
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh. I'm sorry. We've all been at that. We've all been there. Okay? We've all been.
It's got the campfire vibe, like someone just made it up. There's no writer or anything, so I don't really feel bad teasing about it.
That's good.
Oh man. So that's the Anguished Man.
Anguished Man.
It's still around, somewhat. They have YouTube stuff still going up. They still have updates on Facebook. Dude is thinking about bringing the painting with them to travel to cons and shit.
I don't know that that's... I mean, I guess it gets it away from his family.
Yeah, he says nobody's allowed to touch it, but I think it would be neat if people, like, got the feeling from it. Whatever.
All right.
So, the other one that really got its start, this was painted, like, way in the 70s. 1972, actually.
Wow.
I love this painting, actually.
Yeah?
I didn't know it was painted that long ago.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's an old painting. Not, like, extremely old, but, you know. It's just, the artist is Bill Stoneham. I don't know which one it is. But he used to be on commission to produce works for a studio. So he had to do 2 paintings a month. So each painting would net him $200. And his wife actually made a poem that inspired the painting. The poem by Stoneham's wife, Art Princetti, in 1971, she wrote, "He is of the seeing visions, his strokes reveal them. In a rush of color, of madness, of mystics, and his head is the highest center. It must confront its enemy. The hands resist him like the secret of his birth. His presence is a sanctum heartbeat, felt in darkness and in passion. Its sound the soul gift to that silence."
Wow.
His wife at the time, she had been writing about his experience of being adopted and never knowing his biological siblings. So, it was basically what inspired the painting in the first place. And the painting is actually based on a childhood photo, the child. So he was there, he played with a neighborhood girl, they told him to stand, he snapped a picture. Bill Stoneham just likes to paint some weird, creepy things in general. That's his style. So he threw in the hands, made the girl into a weird doll, and he has like this really like dark sort of atmosphere that he seems to like to apply to everything. That's his style. And in 1972, it went up for display in the gallery with the owner Charles Feingarten. And then it was bought actually by an actor who was in The Godfather, John Marley.
Oh, all right.
He's the guy that woke up in the bed with the horse head.
With the horse head?
Yeah, he's the horse head guy.
Oh my god.
And, you know, it got a good review from an art critic named Henry Seldis. So I'm mentioning these 3 people specifically because these are the 3 people that died.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was painted in 1972, and then in order of their deaths, Henry Seldis, the art critic, died in 1978, the gallery owner died in 1981, and then the actor who bought the painting in 1984. And then after that, the artist basically lost track of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So all this time, it turns out it was sitting in an abandoned California brewery or something like that. And they find out from the people that were selling it on eBay 2000. What? Like, it legit just popped up one day on eBay.
Oh my god. And they're like, hey, this is a weird painting. Anybody want it?
Well, they wrote in all caps. You guys are gonna love this. "When we received this painting, we thought it was really good art. At the time, we wondered a little why a seemingly perfectly fine painting would be discarded like
don't like that. Mm-mm.
It gets more fun, bro.
Oh,
So
okay.
the eBay seller claims that he set up a motion sensitive camera in this girl's room because for some reason he hung it up in his daughter's room. By the way,
He was like, "Oh, there's kids in this painting."
yeah, and he hung it. This is a creepy painting. It is unsettling. Like there's a bunch of like little kid hands like trying to press to the glass and not being able to get at this kid, and like this weird haunted doll. Like, don't put that in the child's room. This just doesn't match the decor at minimum. Yeah, so he set up the camera and he says it was to show his daughter there was nothing to be afraid of. And this is a quote from the BBC in the Daily Dot. Instead, he saw the boy crawl from the painting. The last two pictures purport to show the doll coming to life and using a gun held in her hand to force the boy to leave the painting, the BBC reported in 2002.
Wow.
They had us in the first half.
So, after that, like, the artist, made this whole little section on his website about it, and what he says about the painting says, "Where to begin? Well, I've always had a connection to what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious. I think we all do. Artists, especially visual artists, are barometers for the currents that run through this collective. Dreams are a common experience people may have with this. Anyway, my own experience is a sensitivity to place, physical, geographical place. There are memories, echoes of all the life within a place. Maybe that's what's called channeling. When I painted The Hands Resist Him in 1972, I used an old photo of myself at age 5 in a Chicago apartment. The hands are the other lives, the glass door, that thin veil between waking and dreaming. The girl/doll is the imagined companion or guide to this realm. Both the owner of the gallery where Hands was displayed and the Los Angeles Times art critic who reviewed my show were dead within a year of the show. Some of what I paint resonates in other people, opening the inner door, or basement. By the way, I still have no idea what happened to the character actor who bought the painting at the show. Editor note, it was John Marley who died in 1984, or how it ended up abandoned in a building, though I could speculate." And he has like all these like little things on his website that links to different places that you could look at where it's gotten media attention, which includes other podcast episodes like Empty Frames, Crawl Space. There's a Daily Dot story, which I referenced earlier, Wikipedia, Castle Spirits, and the BBC, again, which I referenced. So nowadays, because of how popular it's gotten, there was a private collector who actually commissioned more in a series for this art. And the new series starts in 2004. Resistance at the Threshold depicts the boy as an old man and the doll becoming like a real girl. And the hands are still there. Things have changed. It's like time progression. The next one in the series is Threshold Revelation, 2012. Again, where it kind of depicts this light and dark in a sewer, in the old man and everything. Girl's real girl. The Hands Invent Him, which shows the artist behind the glass.
Oh.
Yeah. It shows like the interior of the house. You can see the silhouette of the boy and the doll. It's actually a very interesting kind of sequel to the picture. And then What Remains in 2021, which is like these feet dangling above a spectral doorway that's got meat-like texture, meat and sinew, and like this fiery red mist. A human skull.
Oh.
So it's a lot of stuff that's like open to interpretation.
Like art is, typically.
Yeah. There's also like a book. I haven't read the book or anything. It's a book it's literally called The Hands Resist Him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The guy writes about the story of the infamous eBay painting.
That's rad.
And that is...
I thought of a cursed painting.
You thought of one.
Mm-hmm. It's Pogo the Clown.
Yes, that would do it. That is a cursed painting.
Mm-hmm.
That was on the list of cursed paintings.
Yeah, I may have Googled it, and then I was like, "Oh, I know that. I know this one." Okay, so I'm gonna talk about it, so I can contribute to the episode aside from just jokes.
Do it.
Jokes. So, Pogo the Clown, aka John Wayne Gacy, was a serial killer of insane proportion. He raped, tortured, and murdered dozens of young men after luring them to his home and offering them, booze, drugs, anything to kind of entice younger, what did they call them? Transient kids to his home. And then he would, and that's where he would commit his crimes. But while he was this horrifying, terrible, evil man, he had an alternate personality of that, where not an alternate personality like a
persona
identity. Yeah, it's a different persona where he he technically could have, he had two, like he was the charismatic politician type. He rubbed elbows with some very important people. I think he even met Nancy Reagan. So he just was really influential in his community. And while he did all these terrible crimes, he was a big deal to everybody who knew him. And he also performed as a clown, and his clown name was Pogo the Clown. So once he was found out and arrested and sentenced to life in prison, did he get the death penalty? I think he might have. I think he probably did. I don't remember. But once he was in prison, he took up painting. I think he was always kind of an artist, but he really got into it once he, he probably had more time to do it because there was probably nothing else to do. So he started painting things, and his painting is very elementary, middle school level. But because people are the way they are, they went for thousands of dollars. Like, people were obsessed with his paintings because they were like, oh my God, he's caused so much death, but then he brings out this, he creates this, like, even if it's not very good, like, he made something. And this was really offensive to the families of the victims because they were like, he shouldn't be getting any of the money that he's making for these paintings. They're like, the only reason that he's making any money is because of his notoriety. So I forget exactly how it all shook out, but his paintings are worth thousands, unfortunately. And one of them being a painting of his persona of Pogo the Clown was purchased by a musician, and I think he paid $3,000 for it. It's not a very big painting either. Let me see if I can find it. And paste. Yeah. So it's his self-portrait, and it's not very exciting. It's him as a clown holding some balloons, and his name button that says "I'm Pogo the Clown" with some trees in the background. I'm sorry. It just makes me mad that he got any sort of like recognition as an artist, I'm like, that just sucks. Like, there's so many really good artists who have never tortured, raped, or murdered anybody in their life. There are artists who have never touched anybody in their life that are better than him. And by that I mean like preschoolers.
Or asexual people.
Or asexual people, yeah, that too.
I'm an artist and I've committed very few crimes in my life.
Very few. Very few.
I don't do any of that shit.
Mm-mm. Oh my god, his Wikipedia page is like a mile long because of all the...
My crimes are strictly in the closet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Called my clothes.
Your clothes aren't crimes. Okay, so who was it that bought it? The musician that bought it was Nikki Stone. Basically, so the musician Nikki Stone purchased the painting for $3,000 in 2001. But bad things started happening after he bought it. His dog died. His mom got cancer. And so a friend of his put the painting into storage. And then soon after that, he died in a car crash. And then the next friend who took it to store it attempted suicide. So they gave it to a local art dealer, which I'm surprised anyone bought it, but there you go.
Very fun.
Yep, that's my contribution to haunted paintings. Maybe cursed painting. That one isn't really haunted. It's just cursed because, one, it's ugly, and two, it's John Wayne Gacy, so yeah. No. Fucking sucked. He died, so.
Back in the 90s.
Yeah. After he did his full, like, interview where he told his whole story, basically.
Johnny Depp bought a Gacy clown painting also.
God
damn it. Ah!
But then he got really weirded out by it and developed a fear of clowns and got rid of it.
Well, good. Serves him right. I'm sorry. So, yep. There, that one is a little darker than the neat ones that you brought, but it's the one that I remembered. Aside from Dorian Gray, who is just an allegory for gay and hedonism. Dorian Gray rhymes with gay.
Dorian Gay! Oh, this hurts my throat.
Yeah, maybe don't do that.
Thanks, everybody!
Oh, God. You want me to do it? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening. So stay away from haunted paintings. Always consult your local art dealer if you are concerned about a painting. If you're not sure why strange people appear in your house, or knives appear on the floor, or your house burns down but this one painting does not, it might be time to consider selling that piece and never looking back.
Any painting could be haunted if you want it to be.
Yep, it's true. If you believe hard enough, the negative energy will manifest itself.
Just be mean around it.
Yeah.
You yell at the painting.
It will yell back.
But thanks, everybody, for listening. We are very excited to take your questions, too, because we want to hear them and we want to answer them, and we are so super qualified to answer questions. So what you can do is you could visit our website, which is whywouldyouskthat.com, and go to that little contact form, throw in a question, or you can email us at whywouldyouskthatpod@gmail.com. So please send us your questions. We don't care how weird it is, how gross it is.